An unelected group of billionaires, namely Elon Musk, coming into the government without anyone's consent.
The weekend saw the most widespread and coordinated protests to date across.
Teslas are burning in Rome, glass is shattering in Seattle, and Elon Musk is blaming billionaires for a global uprising that's targeting his empire. What happens when the world turns on the man who once promised to save it?
The only way that we as individuals in Europe can have a big impact on Trump and Musk and his mates is by trying to destroy the economic viability.
On March 29, 2025, something extraordinary happened. From New York to Rome, people poured into the streets, not for a music festival, not for a climate march, but to protest Tesla. Every single one of the company's 277 US locations was hit with demonstrators, along with showrooms and service centers in major cities across Europe. London saw crowds flooding Oxford Street. In Berlin, protesters took over Alexanderplatz. In Amsterdam, they blocked traffic outside the Tesla delivery hub. Rome was louder and angrier, with chants echoing through the cobblestone alleys.
Vegas. This dramatic video showing multiple cars in flames. According to authorities, the suspected arson occurred early this morning. When police arrived,
These weren't just mild-mannered critics holding polite signs. This was a coordinated global campaign with a clear message: Elon Musk is no longer the tech hero many once admired. Protesters held up signs that compared Musk to authoritarian rulers. Some waved banners with swastikas, accusing him of embracing fascist ideals. Others focused on the business side, encouraging people to dump Tesla stock and boycott the brand entirely. Their message was direct: fire Musk or we'll burn the brand to the ground.
For Tesla in recent weeks, with repeated demonstrations against the firm, or rather its boss Elon Musk and his appointed role in the US government.
This is not.
The intensity of the protests shocked even those who had been following Musk's political journey closely. What started as frustration with his online behavior and controversial comments had transformed into a full-blown mutiny. People weren't just protesting Musk the man, they were revolting against Tesla the company. In some ways, it felt like the brand itself had become a symbol of everything protesters believed was wrong with modern capitalism, tech elitism, and the increasingly blurred line between private business and political power.
Labeled Tesla takedown, with an attempt to blockade every showroom and service center in the country.
We have to hit him where it hurts. This is 60% of his worth, so he's already...
This wasn't just a one-off moment of anger. The Global Day of Action was organized through a vast web of online communities, progressive networks, and political advocacy groups. They planned it down to the hour, ensuring that no major Tesla location could go untouched. And it wasn't just about being seen. It was about being heard. Videos went viral. Photos of defaced Tesla logos trended on X and TikTok. The message was amplified, dissected, and broadcast everywhere.
Created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps.
At the center of the chaos sits Elon Musk, no longer just the face of Tesla and SpaceX, but now an official political figure with real power. When he accepted a role as co-leader of the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, the internet exploded. On paper, it sounded like a bureaucratic job meant to eliminate waste and streamline operations. But critics quickly pointed out what it really meant. Musk now had influence over how federal money is spent, what gets cut, and which programs survive.
role as a special government employee in face of the Department of Government Efficiency, raising a big question of just how far his conflicts of interest can go when Musk has one.
That kind of power, especially when handed to someone with no public mandate or oversight, struck a nerve. Musk, once hailed as the visionary who could save the planet, was now making decisions that could gut environmental regulations, education budgets, and social programs. And he wasn't subtle about it either. His online presence only added fuel to the fire. Posts mocking his critics, attacking the press, and casually dismissing the protests as leftist hysteria made things worse.
That's not cool, you know. at the risk of saying something outrageous, calling for murder is not cool. Yeah.
For Democrats and independents who once supported Musk's innovation, this felt like betrayal. He wasn't just dabbling in politics, he was shaping it, and not from the sidelines. He was standing beside Trump, endorsing deep spending cuts, and suggesting that programs like public housing or Medicare should be modernized through AI, a term many read as code for privatization and downsizing.
And me, I'm like, guys, you know, this is insane. Like, they're gone psycho. I mean, it's really like...
The backlash wasn't just ideological, it was emotional. Musk had once positioned himself as a disruptor, a rebel fighting broken systems. But to many, he's now seen as the system. Worse, he's seen as someone who used public goodwill and progressive branding to gain influence, only to flip the narrative when it suited him. What's more, his role isn't elected. No voter chose him. And yet, he's been given a say in how billions of taxpayer dollars are spent.
As Fox 11's Christy Fajardo reports, today protesters demonstrated outside Tesla dealerships to share their wrath at the billionaire and his Doge activities.
The anger started with signs and slogans, but it didn't stay peaceful for long. Just 2 days after the global day of protest, the situation escalated into something much more destructive. On March 31st, in Rome, an arson attack reduced 17 Tesla vehicles to charred metal outside a dealership. The fire lit up the night sky, and footage of the burning cars was soon everywhere, on the news, across social media, and in Elon Musk's own feed, where he called it terrorism. It wasn't an isolated case. In Germany, 7 more Teslas were set on fire in a small northwestern town. Police found graffiti covering nearby walls. Phrases like, "No fascists here," and "Musk equals death to welfare." In Berlin, a Tesla showroom had its windows smashed and walls tagged with slurs and anarchist symbols. Across the water in Stockholm, another center was hit with similar vandalism. The wave of destruction wasn't random. These were targeted acts, meant to send a loud, fiery message. In the US, things spiraled even further. In Seattle, gunfire shattered the windows of a Tesla dealership. No one was hurt, but the intent was clear. In San Diego, Molotov cocktails were thrown through showroom windows in the middle of the night. In Austin, charging stations were found melted and torched. These weren't just protests, they were deliberate acts of sabotage.
Medicare, Medicaid, food for hungry children, and that's not what the Republicans voted for. That's really not what the Democrats voted for. It's not what our country is.
Law enforcement agencies scrambled to respond. The FBI launched a task force to investigate the attacks, calling it a potential case of coordinated domestic extremism. Attorney General Pam Bondi vowed to crack down, calling the violence a direct threat to civil order. But as federal forces moved in, some activists claimed it only confirmed their fears, that the government was protecting billionaires instead of the people. What's especially troubling is how quickly things escalated. One week, people were chanting outside dealerships. The next, they were lighting those same dealerships on fire. Critics of the violence say it's completely unjustified, that you can hate Musk without harming innocent workers or Tesla owners. But those taking part argue the destruction is symbolic, that burning Teslas is the only way to make people notice what's happening behind the scenes.
Stock prices dropped 15% last week. Musk telling Joe Rogan,
They don't just want to kill me, they want to desecrate my corpse, you know.
While the headlines focus on Elon Musk, stock crashes, and firebombed dealerships, there's another group stuck in the middle of this chaos. Ordinary Tesla owners, people who saved up for their electric car. People who bought a Tesla for its clean energy promise, not its politics. And in states like California, where the Tesla brand was once a badge of environmental awareness, that badge has started to attract something else entirely: hostility.
This week, President Trump brought Teslas to the White House to encourage supporters to buy them and to denounce reports of Tesla showrooms, charging stations, and cars being vandalized.
You can't be.
In recent weeks, there's been a disturbing rise in reports from Tesla drivers who say they're being harassed just for owning the car. Some have had their vehicles keyed in parking lots. Others say strangers have shouted insults or thrown objects at them while they were stopped in traffic. In one Los Angeles neighborhood, a woman was caught on camera spitting on a Tesla and calling its owner a traitor. And it's not just words. There have been physical confrontations too. One man in Oakland claimed he was cornered at a red light by protesters who banged on his windows and accused him of supporting fascism. He wasn't even a Musk fan. He bought the car 2 years ago and said he's regretted it every day since Musk stepped into politics. These people didn't sign up to be symbols. Many of them aren't politically aligned with Musk at all. They just liked the range, the autopilot, the style, or the idea of going green. But in the current climate, that car is no longer neutral. It's a rolling billboard, and for some, a target. The situation raises real questions about how protest works and where it crosses the line. Criticizing Musk's politics is fair game. Protesting a company's leadership, also valid. But when everyday people start facing abuse just because they drive a particular car, that's something else entirely. It stops being resistance and starts to look like misdirected aggression. The goal of a movement should be to change systems, not punish bystanders caught in the middle. There's also the issue of safety. People are scared to charge their Teslas at public stations after reports of vandalism in Austin and Long Beach. Others are quietly selling their vehicles, not because they dislike the car, but because they're afraid of what it represents in the eyes of strangers. One former Tesla owner shared on Reddit that she traded her Model 3 for a Hyundai Ioniq after getting yelled at 3 times in 1 week. Her exact words? "I just wanted a quiet ride to work, not a political war zone." All of this points to a deeper crisis. Tesla, for years, was seen as a unifier. People from all walks of life drove them: conservatives, liberals, techies, teachers, students. But that image has shattered. The brand isn't just polarizing at the top. It's becoming dangerous at the street level, and the people paying the price aren't billionaires. They're everyday drivers just trying to get to work without catching heat for someone else's decisions. Elon Musk has never been one to back down quietly, and his reaction to the global backlash has been exactly what you'd expect: loud, chaotic, and defiantly personal. In the days following the March 29th protests, Musk took to X, formerly Twitter, and started firing off posts at a dizzying pace. He didn't express regret or concern for what Tesla owners were going through. Instead, he doubled down, calling the protesters paid agitators and blaming a supposed shadow campaign run by political enemies. One name he repeatedly dropped: Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn and an outspoken Democratic donor. According to Musk, Hoffman was funding chaos behind the scenes, though he provided no real evidence to support the claim. The tone of his posts bounced between defiant and paranoid. He shared conspiracy-laced memes, accused media outlets of failing the public, and hinted that federal agencies were ignoring real terrorism to protect their friends in big tech in Washington. At one point, he even suggested that the attacks on Tesla showrooms were coordinated by radicalized extremists who hate innovation. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. This was the same man who once built his brand on progress and empathy, now painting himself as a victim of progressives gone mad. What's interesting is how divided his followers have become. There's still a loyal base that worships the ground he walks on. These fans cheer his every post, attack anyone who criticizes him, and repeat his claims about sabotage and deep state interference. But the cracks are showing. High-profile supporters like Fred Lambert, editor of the Tesla-focused site Electrek, have started pulling away. Lambert posted publicly that Tesla lied to him and that the company had lost its way. Longtime customers and shareholders have started dumping stock or canceling pre-orders. And even among fans, there's confusion. Some support Musk's politics, others just wanted good cars and clean tech without all the drama.
Trying to destroy the economic viability of Musk's business. That's the only direct way I can see we can do it. We've got to stop the sales of Musk's cars.
There's also an economic consequence here. Musk's refusal to address the protests with any humility is adding fuel to the fire. Investors are nervous. Analysts are watching his social media feed as much as the company's balance sheet. And every time he posts a new accusation or meme, Tesla's public image takes another hit. It's one thing to be a controversial genius. It's another to turn your company into a battlefield for personal feuds. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.